Get Warrior Tough, Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
All right, we're back at it. Dutch and Andrew and Dutch talking about why facts don't matter. You can't convince anybody with the facts, so don't even waste your time. It's interesting because we always want, Dutch, you and I were very, very intentional about backing up the things the claims that we make, the process that we teach, all based on evidence. It's based on empirical data. It's based on hard science data, that we back it up, and it's very important to us that it is backed up. But you know what? Nobody's ever convinced to buy into our process based on the science.
No, no matter how much information you have, no matter how many facts you have, there's still going to be a conversation beyond that. It's like, I'm telling you something. It's a fact. You're going to tell me what you believe prior to that. Then I got to reinforce that fact. You're going to tell me what you believe prior to that and why you believed it. I'm going to tell you that fact again, or some more supporting data along with that fact, whether I'm telling you which scientist said it, how many degrees he has,
right? None of those things matter. They don't matter to somebody.
And you're going to come back one more time and you're going to tell me why you believe what you believe. So,
right.
Ideally, you should say, I believe this. And I go, well, the facts and every scientist in America says this. And then you should go, oh, that's interesting. Thank you for that. No, it's never a one-round discussion. It's going to go 5, 6, 7 rounds.
And fact after fact, it's still not going to convince them. The only way people buy into their beliefs, their emotion, there is emotion. There's got to be an emotional reason, because we're emotional beings. We believe what we believe mostly based on emotion. Not mostly, it all is, okay? But I'm just saying mostly because I'm going to give myself some wiggle room, because it won't even matter if I give you the facts anyway. You won't believe me.
Right.
The reason we have adopted our beliefs from people that we loved, that we respected, right? People that nurtured us, people that were in positions of authority, people that we looked up to, people that were credible, people that had influence. So that's where we get our beliefs from.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you say the people who operate otherwise, from how we're talking, they're those people considered strange. Those people are going to be considered unique. When I was on the radio doing sports talk,
yeah.
Oftentimes people on my side of the table in my profession would say, you can't back off a point. You fight to the death with that point. Whatever you said, you have to go with it. You have to roll with it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. If someone enters new information into the equation, someone gives me data, someone presents an idea or some information I didn't know, then I'm ready and willing and able to change my mind. And people just scoffed at the notion that I would ever do that. No, you don't do that. You seem weak. I'm sitting there like, what? What are you guys talking about? That's completely goes against everything I've ever believed in my life, how I've operated. And I was the outlier in my business.
Right.
But the people listening, they appreciated it. And they noticed what I was doing, and they felt, aside from the fact that they felt like their opinions had value and their information had value, it made sense that why wouldn't you do that?
Well, the reason is people want to believe that they're right more than they want to be enlightened.
And the world doesn't help you get away from that. The world pushes you further down that path.
Yes.
Because there's fewer people in the world that are telling you that that's wrong. Everyone's engaging.
This is how commerce happens, Dutch. Okay, so so people do not buy things based on the facts. And every sales seminar, every salesman, they want features and benefits. No one cares about features. They want to know what the benefit is for them. Features is logic, it's reason, it's evidence. All right, so take my car for instance. I got that Dodge Challenger SXT, road and track. It's got every bell and whistle in it. Well, how many horsepower it is, that's a feature. The benefit is I feel cool when I'm driving it. Now, I'm going to tell you that I bought it because it was a good deal and it's got great this and great that. That's a lot. That's logical and it sounds reasonable. It's a lie. I bought it because it made me feel a certain way while I'm driving it. Mm-hmm. And this is every belief, every opinion, every decision that we make at the heart of it is based on how things make us feel. And facts don't make you feel anything because facts are neutral. They're inert. They just are what they are. Truth is what, if you want to win an argument, if you want to persuade somebody, you have to persuade them with truth, not with fact. Now, facts will give them cover. Once they made their decision, they will point back to the facts and it gives them cover. Like me, I'm not going to tell you that I bought that car because I'm 49 years old and I never had a sports car and it makes me feel really cool to have it. I will never say that. What I will tell you was it was a great deal, right? It had all the stuff I wanted. I got great gas mileage and it just made sense, which it doesn't, but I'm going to say it because it gives me cover.
And you know, the funny thing is, again, this going back to the radio experiences, is in the moment, people can realize what just happened. People can go, you know what? You're right. You're right. That is logically correct. That is factual. And people in that moment, in a singular discussion, can realize that and change their mind. But in a moment, in the next moment, they're going to go back to what they were. That's why this is a skill. This is a skill that has to be developed.
Right.
In order to continue behaving this way throughout your life and everything you do, to be able to think this way all the time, you have to practice it. It can't be something that you just realize that one time.
Yeah, it ain't a one-off.
You get it right,
man.
right, and then you, then in the very next moment, very next situation, you're back to where you were. You know, that's where our training comes in.
Yeah, no, I got this. I got this, Dutch.
Yeah.
No, I did it once. All right. What do we say about, right, the weekend warrior practices something till they get it right. The elite warrior practices a skill till they can't get it wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it has much more value than just an argument or a discussion or just purchasing that vehicle that one time. It has to be a way of life. And you're going to see that your life changes and you're going to see the progress that you're going to make across the board when this becomes a part of you. It becomes who you are and how you do things and how you do everything. So that's what's going to separate you from everybody else, not being able to listen to us talk about it right now and go, oh, you guys are right. Yeah, you're right. But then the moment you turn off the show, you're going to go right back into doing what you do.
And it's habitual. It's a habit. It's an autopilot program. That's what we do. Now, this is the confirmation bias side of it, and here's the study behind that. So they did a thing where they brought in the students, right, and there was a deal on capital punishment, death penalty, or no death penalty, right? So what they found, of course, confirmation bias, but it's a tendency that we all have, every human has, to embrace information that supports their belief and reject information that contradicts it. Reference Dutch's Twitter illustration. We never retweet anything that doesn't support our belief, and we reject information that would contradict us. This is a huge deal, right? And it's been cataloged. We ad nauseum. There's no getting around. You can't deny this one. It's just like the earth isn't flat kind of deal, right? So here's one of these famous studies was conducted, again, at Stanford. They love doing this stuff at Stanford. It's very expensive out there, too. It's so they could pay for all these studies. But I think Stanford just likes bothering people. I know, right? Notice that every time in every one of these things, Stanford lies halfway through the thing. I'm just saying. I don't know what that means. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. I'm just reading the. Okay, so they're having too much fun out there. They're having so much fun. Aha! Tricked you again. So in this experiment, the researchers round up a group of students who had opposing views against capital punishment. That ain't hard to do at Stanford, right? So no for capital punishment at Stanford, and then that's half the group. Then the other half were in favor of it. I don't know where they found them. But so the other half were in favor of it and thought that it deterred crime. And then the first half was like against it. It had no effect on crime. So the students were asked to respond to two studies. One provided data to support the deterrence argument. Yep, it deters crime. And, of course, the other packet was a bunch of data that called it into question. And both studies, you guessed it, were completely made up. They were tricking them again. It was completely designed to present, what they were, objectively speaking, equally compelling statistics. So both of them had equally compelling statistics for and against. And this is why people talk about like fake facts or alternate facts, because like you could just manufacture this stuff, man. So this is what Stanford did, manufactured studies. Here they are, equally compelling data. The students who had originally supported capital punishment rated the pro-deterrence data as highly credible and the other data as completely unconvincing. And then the students, of course, who had opposed capital punishment did the reverse. So it just backs up my belief. I dig in harder. So I only see the stuff that I want to see, and I don't even think about any of the other stuff that I don't want to think about that doesn't match up with my stuff. And at the end, that's what happened. And it's funny because the professor said this, that if humans were mice, it's like a mouse that thinks, listen, it's a mouse that thinks, you know what? I have a belief that there are no cats in the world. I've never seen a cat. There are no cats, and there's no cats around here. And they just walked out, and they became quickly dinner. It'd be like, that's how we think. Like we just run off a cliff because there's no cliffs.
Yeah.
How did the human race survive, dude? Because this is literally, we're like, there's no cat around the corner, and then you go out, and then the cat eats you. She's like, no, there's a cat right there. I'm seeing it on video. Here's the evidence. If you got a camera, CCTV, the cat's right around the corner. No, I don't believe it.
That's CGI.
Yeah, it was a CGI cat. That ain't real. But yeah, just because it's on video, that's special effects.
Well, we do that. I mean, we talk about it all the time with fast food, right? I mean, we get all this information about how things aren't good for us, and then we look and find out how much money the fast food industry is making.
Yeah, and they'll tell you, it's like, I remember the tobacco, right? The tobacco did this, the tobacco guys. They had their own doctors saying, no, tobacco's good for you. It's healthy. Like in the 70s. Like, seriously? I mean, really? Are you kidding me? Of course, that's why they had the big settlement 20 years later in the 90s. But when I was growing up, man, the Marlboro man was cool. The Camel guy was cool.
The Camel.
Yeah, and they had their Joe Camel, and they had their own scientists that said this is good, which is like the sugar industry. I don't know. They have their own scientists saying sugar is good for you. It's like Oreos are not good for you. I don't care how many doctors you trot out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you can find so many examples. I know people who don't wear seatbelts.
Climate change is either or you're not. I mean, if you don't believe it, all the data is fact. If you do believe it, it does. All the other people are kooks. Seatbelts is another one.
Yeah, for the life of me, I'm in the car with one of my buddies the other day, and I'm like, "Hey, man, put your seatbelt on." Then we have this long discussion about the merits of the seatbelts and the data that's out there, and I'm like, "Whoa!"
All right, dude. Look, man, you're in my car. You're wearing the seatbelt. I don't care what the
exactly.
Data says.
Exactly.
Right, you're in my house. You're in my car, right? Okay. So are we up on a break?
Up on a break.
Holy cow, man! This stuff is flying by. Well, I just don't believe it. Well, I don't believe the clock's right. I don't think we're up on a break at all. I don't believe that data. You're listening to Get Warrior Tough Radio Show with Dutch and Andrew.